Hey everyone, and welcome back to another eShop Deals video. Now once again, we have a list of 20 games this week, and all these games, in my opinion, are really easy pickups. Now as usual, quick reminder, I don't go over the deals in last week's video, and I would say especially this week, a lot of those deals are still going on. So I always link the video up above. After you're done with this one, go give it a look, make sure you're not missing out on any of the great deals. Also, about halfway through the video, we're going to be announcing this week's winner for the $5 eShop gift card. If you're wondering how you can participate in that giveaway for future weeks, all you need to do is check out my under $5 eShop deals video that comes out around Wednesday, drop a friendly comment in that video, and you're automatically entered. And we're not going to waste any more time and get started on the deals, so don't forget that if you do like this content, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Now, our first game for this week is going to be The Outer Worlds, that is back to 67% off at only $19.79. Now, The Outer Worlds is an awesome action sci-fi RPG that will have you traveling from world to world on an immense adventure. There's also a bunch of downloadable content already out there and available for the game. Now, this is a game that upon first release on the Switch, I would not have necessarily recommended because it had some issues on the system. However, the good news, it's been patched up a bunch since then, and right now it's in a state that it is definitely an enjoyable experience. Is it graphically the best version of the game? Maybe not, but to have it in a portable factor, as I normally say, it is definitely worth it on the Switch. Now, the next game on our list is going to be Battle Chasers Nightwar, that is 70% off at $11.99. Now, if you have not played this game yet, it is probably one of the best turn-based RPGs we currently have on the Switch. Number one, it has some great comic book inspired visuals. Number two, you have over a 25-hour adventure ahead of you. And really, overall, it really has an enticing storyline that will drive you to the end of the game. If you're a fan of turn-based RPGs, definitely pick this one up if you haven't experienced it yet. Now next, we actually have a series of games that are on sale. Both the Guacamelees are currently on sale, but we're actually going to look at them separately because they deserve it. And we're going to start with the first one here at 75% off for $3.74. Now if you're unfamiliar with this series, both these games feature a Metroidvania style of gameplay, but with a protagonist that is basically a Mexican wrestler. The moves here are all inspired by over-the-top wrestling moves, and overall, with the amazing colorful visuals and the really solid gameplay here, this is a really awesome Metroidvania, especially when you're only picking it up for $3.74. So next, coming as no surprise, we have Guacamelee 2. And something new for the channel, we're going to be doing my pick of the week. And the reason I'm mentioning this now is because Guacamelee 2 is going to be just that, my pick of the game of the week. Now this one is 70% off at $5.99, and I forgot to mention at the first one, make sure to pick up these games quick because at the time of posting of this video, there's about a day and a half left on the deals. Now basically everything I just told you about Guacamelee 1 is still true here about the second one. However, the level designs are even more refined. The gameplay is even more smooth, and basically they took everything that the first game set up and they just made it even better. Now, if you're a fan of Metroidvanias or just simply 2D action games, I'm telling you right now, Guacamelee 2 should be a definite pickup for you, especially at only $6. Now, our next entry is another game that I'm super happy to see another sale on, which is Dead Cells, that is currently 35% off, knocking the price down to $16.24. Now, I'm going to start off with a warning. This is an extremely challenging game. If you're not into challenging games, I would say stay away from this one. But if you are, this is an amazing game to be picking up that basically blends elements of Metroidvanias with the roguelite genre. Someone was eventually going to do it, and Dead Cells does it in a extremely good fashion. Now, basically, overall, if you're looking for a brutally challenging 2D action platformer, look no further. Dead Cells is an excellent pickup. I'm just going to warn that it's already been a tiny bit cheaper than this on the eShop, but it's again not a game that goes on sale all that often, so if you've been holding out, I still find this deal to be a good pickup. Now the next game on our list is another excellent entry with Valkyria Chronicles that is also 50% off this week at $9.99. Now this is the first entry in the series, and this is basically a strategy action RPG. and it is honestly an excellent entry once again, with I really find some truly beautiful visuals and a really amazing art style. Overall, if you're a fan of strategy RPGs, definitely take a look at this one at $9.99. It still stands up very well today. Now next, we have another great returning deal with the Takeover that is back to 70% off, once again only $5.99. Now if you're a fan of classic side-scrolling beat-em-ups, the Takeover, when you can get it at only $6, is a definite pickup. Is it the best overall beat-em-up on the Switch? Maybe not, but it is definitely one of the better ones. And as I said earlier, when you can get it at this price, you have a ton of content here, especially if you have a couple of people over to play an amazing co-op play. Now next, we have a game that's actually making its first appearance on eShop deals, which is Thumper, that is going to be this week 75% off for only $4.99. Now I just tried this game this week, and you know what? I was amazed by what I was experiencing, and its description actually fits it perfectly. Rhythm violence. You're speeding down a tight little corridor, taking tight curves, all the while trying to hit rhythm triggers. It is an amazing experience, and overall, can't really be described, has to be experienced. If you're looking for something different for this week and you're willing to take a chance, I'm almost sure you're going to love this game at only $5. Now next, we have what is probably one of my favorite action-adventure series on the Switch, with all 3 Darksiders games being on sale this week. Now I'm going to group 1 and 2 together because they have a lot in common and they have the same deal at 55% off for $13.49. Now in Darksiders 1 and 2, you're playing as 2 different horsemen of the apocalypse, either war in the first one and death in the second one. And both these first 2 entries play out very much like a 3D Zelda game, having you explore an overworld, enter dungeons, solve puzzles, and overall fight some humongous bosses. If you've ever want a more action-oriented, darker-toned Zelda-like experience, look no further than the Darksiders series. Now, Darksiders Genesis, on the other hand, is our next entry, and it changes up the gameplay a little bit, but this one is also 55% off. However, it's coming in at $17.99. Now, Darksiders Genesis is actually the 4th entry in this series, because unfortunately the 3rd one is currently not available on the Switch, but we should be getting it by the end of the month. And this one shifts up the gameplay to a more of a Diablo-style gameplay, where you're basically playing from a top-down perspective. You can also swap between 2 different playable characters, and I did find that they made the puzzles a little simpler in this game. Overall, this is maybe not my favorite entry in the series, but when you're getting it at 55% off, it is definitely worth a pickup. So now it's time to take just a quick break to announce this week's winner of the $5 eShop gift card. Now this week's winner is going to be Rapture, who said, "I just spent my money on Deathloop, so I'm unfortunately going to have to take a week off." And don't worry, Rapture, I understand perfectly. When you make those bigger game purchases, it's hard to pick up the eShop deals at the same time. Well, at least hopefully, with the $5 eShop gift card, maybe you'll be able to splurge a little bit on one of the under $5 games. So all you need to do now is reach out to me in my pinned comment down below in this video. Now, our next game is also making a first appearance on the series with Super Crush KO at 60% off for $5.99. Now, this is an amazing mashup of a side-scrolling brawler with a run-and-gun shooter, and it focuses a lot on getting the longest and most efficient combo possible. Now, if you like side-scrolling, fast-paced action games, I definitely think you should look at Super Crush KO for this week. I'm even disappointed I haven't been playing this game for years, and I waited so long to give it a try. Now, while we're on the topic of run-and-gun side-scrolling shooters, we also have Valfaris this week that is 55% off at $11.24. Now, this game is going to come once again with a warning. It is a very challenging game. However, it is another side-scrolling action run-and-gun shooter. It has some amazing visuals and some even better music. I'm also going to mention that it does sometimes come in a dual pack with Slain, and that overall is a better deal. However, nonetheless, on its own at $11.24, it is still worth a pickup in my book. Now next, we have a great entry for retro fans with Collection of SaGa Final Fantasy Legend at 25% off for $14.99. Now, this is a collection of 3 games from the Game Boy era that were in the West actually marketed as Final Fantasy games, but in reality, they were from a different Square Enix series, which was the SaGa series. But overall, they are some really great Game Boy era RPGs. Fair warning though, they have dated quite a bit, meaning that if you are unfamiliar with retro gameplay, these might not be the best pickup for you. But for anyone in for a dose of nostalgia, this is a great collection to have, and even with just $5 off, it's better than nothing. Now, our next game is actually a guilty pleasure of mine with Spongebob SquarePants The Battle for Bikini Bottom at 33% off for $20.09. The only slight warning I'm going to give here about this game is that I've seen the physical version of the game already come down all the way to this price before. And with Black Friday not that far away, if you are a physical hunter, you might want to hold off and pick up a physical copy in a month or two. Now next, we have Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy that is currently back to 67% off, making the game only $9.89. Now this is a third-person action-adventure game, but I'm going to tell you right away, it is much heavier on the puzzle solving and very light on the action. This is also a port of a PS2 game. And I'm going to tell you right away that at its full price of $30, it is definitely not worth a pickup. However, when you get it at 67% off, for anyone into dungeon crawling, puzzle solving, at $9.89, I do think this one becomes finally a fair pickup. Now next on the list for this week, we have Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning that is 25% off, dropping to $29.99. Now this is a really great action RPG that was overdue for a port to the Switch. And you know what? I'm happy to report that the port was very well done, and overall, the adventure on the Switch in a portable format is an amazing experience. And right now, when we finally get a little sale on the game, 25% off, you know what? It does ease the pickup of this game. Even if you've played it through before, I definitely say that to experience it in a handheld format is worth a double dip. Now, the next game is going to be The Legend of Kay Anniversary at 70% off for $8.99. Now, this is another game that is in the same bag as the Sphinx game earlier, where at full price, I would definitely not recommend picking up this game, but when you can get it like today at 70% off, it's worth a try. Just a fair warning, it is a port once again from the PS2 era, and it is a 3D action-adventure game. By today's standards, some of the controls will feel a little bit stiff, and some of the level designs I would say are not the best. But overall, I had fun re-experiencing it for a second time, and at, like I said, $9, it's worth a try. Now next, we have one of my favorite arcade-style packs to go on sale with the Retro Classics collection from Data East #1 at 75% off for $4.99. Now this pack comes with great games like Bad Dudes, Joe and Mac, and even Super Burger Time. And don't be fooled, these aren't the free versions that you get on these Nintendo Switch Online service. These are actually the arcade versions, which are almost totally different games from the ones you've played on the NES. And if you've never played the arcade versions before, and you even had the slightest interest in those other games, definitely pick up this pack. You will not be disappointed with the superior versions of these games. Now, while we're on the subject of arcade ports, we have the Wonder Boy Returns remix also this week at 50% off for $7.49. Now, yet again, another great remix / remaster of an arcade classic. If you're unfamiliar with this series, it has a lot in common with the Adventure Island series that we got on the NES, but we're not going to go into that whole history in this 30-second caption. Basically, if you're a fan of old school arcade action, definitely give Wonder Boy a try, especially like today when you can get it at 50% off. Now last, but definitely not least for this week's list, we have Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom that is back to 60% off for $15.99. Now this is one of my favorite 2D action platformers on the Nintendo Switch, and it has a lot of Metroidvania-like elements thrown in. Now, if you haven't experienced this game yet, you basically play as a character that can swap between different animal shapes to basically help you go through different obstacles and solve different puzzles. Overall, it is an amazing game, and even when I picked it up at its full price of $40, I felt that I got my money's worth. So at $16.99, this game is a definite steal. So that was it for this week's list of eShop deals. was maybe a little shorter than usual, but nonetheless, I think once again, we have a lot of quality titles. Now don't forget that if you want to keep up with the day-to-day activities on the channel, to drop me a follow on Twitter. I try to post a lot of stuff on a daily basis there. My Twitter link is down below in the description of the video. Also, I need to take a couple of seconds to really thank this channel's supporters. They help the channel in a huge way, and they make sure that I can keep getting all the games we need to do these videos. And lastly, on the way out, don't forget, as I said earlier, if you did like the video, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Hit that notification bell to know when all my future content comes out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.